The importance of self-advocacy. My name is Gretchen Jackson, and I've been an advocate and trainer for the last 20 years. In this module, I will be discussing the importance of teaching and learning self-advocacy skills for people with developmental disabilities from the perspective of an advocate, but also from the perspective of a mother of an adult son with developmental disabilities. As I talk about the different self-advocacy skills, I would like you to keep your child in mind and how you can adapt these skills to teach your child no matter what their disability is. I will also go over some teaching strategies that you can use with your child at home to help them learn the skills. There will be additional teaching materials in your resources. Our objectives will be to increase knowledge of what self-advocacy is, increase understanding of self-advocacy skills and dignity of risk, increase knowledge of IEP goals for self-advocacy, increase understanding of the importance of self-advocacy skills for transition planning and beyond, and increase understanding of self-determination. What is self-advocacy and how can it be described? Many people have different definitions for it, but to sum it up, it means awareness, motivation, and ability of an individual to represent and communicate his or her own interests, to exercise personal choice, to exert control over his or her own environment, and to avoid exploitation and abuse. Isn't that the desire of all people with and without disabilities? And isn't this what we want for all of our children with and without disabilities? We all want control over our lives. We want to speak for ourselves, and we want to be heard and have our opinions matter. We want to be able to ask for help when we need it and to be equal members when problem-solving ideas. We don't want someone controlling our every move. We don't want to be a puppet waiting for someone to tell us what to do. We don't want that, so why would anyone with a disability want it? This list is from a handbook for self-determination living called The Art of Impact by Scott W. Robinson. It was written for young people with disabilities to guide them on skills necessary to determine their own futures. This link to this handbook is listed at the end of your resources. Let's look at what self-advocacy is and isn't. Self-advocacy is exercising your voice, working with others to get the things you need, listening to what others say, expressing yourself clearly, knowing your rights, knowing your resources, advocating for a healthy life for yourself. Self-advocacy is not letting others speak for you or commanding others to meet your needs, tuning out what others have to say, expressing yourself without clarifying your thoughts, or relying on others to know your rights, or not knowing about your resources, not advocating for your right to have a healthy life. Self-advocacy skills are about being heard, knowledgeable about the things that affect you, and knowing how to get the things you need. It is not about being disrespectful or rude or complacent. What happens when people are not taught self-advocacy skills? Lack of self-advocacy skills often leads to the unwanted traits of learned helplessness, including a lack of self-confidence and poor problem-solving skills. Our children can sometimes display unwanted traits that we as parents do not even realize we are facilitating. How often do we tell our children just about everything to do because we're afraid they might forget or because we're so used to doing it? This is what happened with my son. He's always been a very agreeable person and wants to please people. I didn't realize what was happening until I watched him stand by the door one day to go out to the car and making no effort to put his coat on. He was waiting to be told, "Get your coat on and go to the car." I told him that hundreds of times since he was a little boy, and he was trained to wait for the cue. That is learned helplessness. It was affecting his self-confidence that he couldn't really figure things out for himself. It was affecting his problem-solving skills on what to do if his coat wasn't by the door or if it was raining outside. As I thought about this, I realized this wasn't the only area of his life that we as a family were teaching him learned helplessness. We are now in the process of unteaching him learned helplessness and teaching him problem-solving skills, and in turn I see boosts his self-confidence. This unteaching takes quite a while and different strategies will need to be tried, but the eventual outcome will be rewarding to him and his future. When to start helping your child learn self-advocacy skills. Start today. Your child is never too young or too old to start teaching self-advocacy skills. Who better to do it than the people who love and care for him the most? My son was in his 20s before we consciously started to be sure that he learned the self-advocacy skills he needed to control his own life. And where those skills were weak, we as a family supported him in developing them and continue to do so. In a training I did with adults who were self-advocates, it helped to stress the point even more, the importance of starting to teach children self-advocacy skills as soon as possible. One self-advocate said, quote, "This is hard at first, but I had to learn how to do it. Not an easy thing. I did not learn these things until after school. I took a stand after school. It would have been helpful to learn about self-advocacy in school. School staff and family could have helped me by talking to me about the fact that I can stand up for myself and do better." End quote.